Hey, everybody. It's the night of the 4th of July. You know how you can tell? Because there are a ton of things exploding right next to my window. Shrug. Anyway, I am super stressed out because I have a little bit of PTSD about loud noises. So, hey, Alfie. It is 4th of July, which is the holiday that America celebrates when they became independent. The problem is the way that everybody celebrates their independence is by firing off firecrackers all over the place. And there's a park right here, which is really pretty and I love it, but it's also dark at night. And so people like to buy illegal firecrackers and come out here and fire them off. And it's loud enough that it rattles my windows, and some serious explosions. And so it makes me very stressed out because I don't like loud noises. Oh, I'm just stressed out. I'll be fine. But thank you for worrying about me. I have been stressed out for 50 of these, so there is a, and they do this all week. That's the part that makes me so upset, is it happens all week long. You know what I mean? All week. But I'll be fine. I'll be fine just like I am every year. I'm always fine. I just get jumpy. And so it's very stressy. They've actually been relatively quiet for a few minutes. But yeah. So I think Alfie's the same. I think that there's something about neurotypicals that don't like loud, sudden noises. Because I'm not the first person I have met that doesn't like loud, sudden noises. So, how are you doing there, Alfie? How's vacation? Yeah, I like thunder, but you can also tell, like, it gives you warning, right? You see the flash of light, and then you hear the... Hey, I am not liking them either. I am not. I was just telling Alfie this. There's a park right here, and it's dark at night. There's no lights in the park. So people like to drive across town to this park and fire off fireworks like the M80s and those things that are just super loud and really, really, really loud. And they're sudden, and it makes me jump every time, and I duck. Okay, see you later, Alfie. Anyway, I have rejiggered the sheets again. Yeah, I hate those things. But this time I put I corrected the cover so it can be one unit. And, fixed all of these so that they were paired. 50th time is the charm. Not wrong. I was saying to Alfie, I don't think any of us neurotypical or neurodivergents, I don't think us neurodivergents do well with loud noises. I don't know what it is, but it's like the vets and me are all hiding under things. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's genius. I don't know. But I'm always hiding under things with the vets. You know, like I'm with you guys, man. So, me too. Anyway, so I think I've got these all correctly redone, including all the things that Can and I had added, like the commitment range line, which reminds us that our commitment range needs to be within these pages right here. So, and then I made the colors more clear now for the arcs of the stories. So here's peak 1, and then it goes back down and settles in. Then here's peak 2, and then it goes back down to the dip here, where this is the worst point in the story, and then back up to peak 3, which is right here, to the cliffhanger that leads you off to the next one. There was no Geek Tank tonight because I'm still fighting with GoDaddy, because GoDaddy has been migrating. Oh, it's fine. Oh, it's totally cool. GoDaddy moved the email for Rocky Mountain Geek Tank over, and when they did, they migrated it, and I went to the website, and they're still working on that migration that they started in March of 2021. So I feel like it's probably jammed or locked up or something didn't happen. But either way, I just needed to set up a relay to go to one of our emails, because I really don't need anything more than just a relay. That's it. That's all I need is a relay. Because we never broadcast, we never write back from Rocky Mountain Geek Tank. We always just receive, because it's only passwords and things like that. So anyway, I've got to go yell at GoDaddy, and that's tomorrow's job, or day after tomorrow's job. Also on Wednesday, I'm going to start taking pictures of my buddy Ted and me. He's got a drone now, and so he wants to start doing real estate pictures with the drone, and that's cool. So we're going to team up and make a company that does real estate pictures with drones, and we've got cameras and drones and social media and all that stuff. So, hey, Kat, it is one of the worst times of years for both Brent and I, because this is the time of year where everybody has to start blowing stuff up and scaring the bejeebers out of me, naturally. So there's that. Yeah, and it's like 5 days of it too. It's like people just keep going and going and going. Don't let up. So yeah, military base, I'm sure, is not making it any better. I kind of want to go see the drone show tomorrow night. Yeah. So apparently up in Boulder, because of the fire danger, they're going to actually not do a fireworks show, but instead do a drone show. And I'm like, you know what? I'm all on board for a drone show for all the reasons. You know? So anyway. So yeah, I redid I was telling Brent, I redid my layout sheets for script writing. So I wanted to make them clearer, so I cleaned up a lot of it. We've established, because Can wanted to put on here the commitment range that you were talking about, to indicate that if they haven't committed by page 8, we've got problems, because he wants to do it on the front end so that he can remember to draw his best work right here. You know what I mean? So like put it right here so he knows what he's doing. I thought that was cool. I'll do that for him. Um, for me, I went ahead and did all of this the way that they were talking about the three peaks that happen in the manga. So you've got the peak one is right around page four-ish or whatever, which is right at your commitment range, which makes sense. Peak two would be right around the first splash, and then there's a trough at 24 and 25, where that's supposed to be if it was I explained this before better as Sailor Moon. Peak one is Sailor Moon is running, we're in media res, right? Sailor Moon's running down the alleyway, and the Yoma is in front of her, and she does the moon tiara magic, and the Yoma is killed. And then she gets back with the Sailor Senshi, and the Sailor Senshi's all talk here through pages 10, 11, 12, 13. And when they get to page 14, another Yoma has shown up. And so, but this Yoma is bigger. So they fight that Yoma and it beats them. So then during 26, 27, 28, they come up with a plan to beat the Yoma, which then in 30, 31, and 32, they beat the Yoma. So it's the classic setup, but it's clear here. I wanted to make it visual so that we could really see what was going on. So that's what I've been doing, mostly because I've already finished transferring everything over. So anyway, how are you doing, Kat? How are you doing, Brent? That's fair. Sweet. Yeah. I'm dying over here. If you get to the point where you want to join for drawing, you may. You don't, no obligation. I just want you to know that that's fine. Right. Makes sense. Because I mean, I've been doing misegomis and trying to set those up, and I've been having fun. I've been really working hard and trying to kind of get a rhythm with misegomi and hikigomi and all of those kind of things where you kind of work that system in. So I've been really working. Oh, that's cool. Oh, black and white. Black and white can be remarkably dramatic. That's fine. I actually started doing something very strange recently, and I'm kind of into it. So for patrons, I started writing prose. Like it's a side story of this comic, but I'm writing it out in prose, like longhand, like a normal novel, and I'm releasing that on Patreon for my patrons. So you can read about a secondary story of this. I haven't gotten much feedback on it, but I'm assuming people are liking it somewhat. So that's kind of cool. That's my new kind of weird. These first pages, my mise gome, is not my mise goma. It's not trash. I mean, it might be trash. I'm like, why doesn't that word sound right? Mise, mise goma is a little weird in the very beginning because I didn't actually know what I was doing. So I was kind of like, well. In fact, this is a perfect place for it. Hey, Matt. Howdy, bro. What you know? We've been doing interesting things about some of the ins and outs of manga composing. Oh, hey, check you out. You want to come over here and work on mine? Because we're having issues there. Isn't it funny that that's kind of a thing we all do? Like, I mean, what would I do if you actually took me up on that? I'd be like, oh, I was just kind of joking, you know. It'd be like really weird, but that's sort of like an expected thing we're supposed to say, right? It's funny. It's a sort of backwards way of saying I feel you, man. Right? I should just say I feel you. Kind of weird. Anyway, not the thing you're doing, but you know. Oh, hey, that's kind of cool. I feel like, am I missing something? I don't know. I don't know where Cat's going on this one. Oh, gotcha. I see. I follow you now. I was talking to Matt, and I was like, "What? We're in that discussion? I didn't know." It's all right. Okay, you can drop in me. That's going to be our new thing. This is a thing. We made it a thing now. It's a thing. Stop putting periods on there. There are no periods. Only Zool. Who knows? Here we go.
right, is it gonna work?
There we go. It worked.
Yeah.
I can hear you and everything.
First try again. I marked it on the calendar.
Right?
All right. Let me get resettled here in my seat. Goodness.
I feel like you may have actually given up on the artillery fire.
The Torafire? What?
Artillery fire. It's
Oh,
been so loud.
yeah. Did I tell you about my editor telling me to basically start over chapter 1? Yep. Have I talked about that yet?
Yep.
Yeah. Have I shown you the structure they gave me though?
No.
Oh my goodness. So oh my gosh, let me show you. This is wild. I mean, oh, that's the wrong version of the document. Oopsies. I hate when I do that. Oh, it's because I was logged into the wrong, Gmail. That's why.
Yeah.
I've got like 4 of them now. It's ridiculous. One for YouTube, one for me, one for Global Comics. I've got all these different accounts now. My brain just can't keep track of them all. Alright, I'll bring this down here. Switch displays here.
But I did tell you that at one point in time with issue 1, I had my best friend read it, and he was like, I'm completely lost in this last part. And I'm like, and I had drawn it all out and everything. And I was like, he's like, you really need to redo this and add like 2 pages. And I'm like, I can't add 2 pages. I'm at 32 pages. So now what I'm doing is this. I'm writing in all the text and then just like basic scribbles. And I'm going to give that to him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and now if you're going to decide that this entire set of pages needs to be blown up, I haven't done anything to it yet, Wow, that's a lot of text.
Well, this is let me explain you a thing.
Right.
So basically, the way that they recommended, so think of this whole chunk here as one part of Kishoten Kits. This is the first part. Basically, what they have is they have let me go to a part that doesn't have any like spoilers in it. It's called the Harmon cycle. There's 8 parts in it. It's an 8-part cycle. And what's really nice is it blends in perfectly with the 4-part Kishoten Kits, right? Because there's 4 parts. So basically, you have
the Harmon cycle was for Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm, yeah, it's really popularly used. Mm-hmm. But what's really nice though, is that 3rd part is your climax, right? That's your Yama. Well, guess what? That lines up perfectly with success and punish. So success, it could be, oh, like you accomplished a thing, but surprise twist, you also get punished for it. Right. So like it works out perfectly in terms of 4 parts and where you typically want like the twist or Yama to be. Like it works out perfectly timing wise. And so basically what we did is we took Kishoten Kits and we, each part got 2 parts of the Harmon cycle. And then from there you continue to nest it down all the way down to the individual page. So that you have 16 pages, which also conveniently works out with both Kishoten Kits and the Harmon cycle, because 16 is divisible by both 4 and 8. So that works out perfectly mathematically. And she's like, "You're such a mathematical thinker," because I am naturally. I'm very analytical and logical in the way that I think. She's like, I think this would work really well for you. And I literally wrote 8 chapters over the weekend. And I'm like, oh my god, this makes so much more sense. This makes my brain happy. And so like I basically and what was really nice is she's like, I really like the last like half to 2/3 of your story. It's solid. Like you've got a good solid ending, like you've got a good solid twist, like you've got all that stuff in there. It's great. but like your beginning is so weak. Like she couldn't even tell who my main character was after my first chapter. And I was like, oh my god, my heart! You just tore it out and stomped on it. So this was like a 4-hour consultation that we did. So yeah, it's basically what we did. She showed me this system week or two. I've been going in and I actually made this document myself, just like help me organize it. And I finally got some feedback from her yesterday. But she really liked the work that I've done so far, and she was like, "I think this looks great. Like now you can go ahead and start scripting it out, and then get some feedback." And I'm like, "I can't start drawing yet." And she's like, "No, you need to go through the steps this time because look what happened last time when you didn't."
That's awesome.
I'm like, "Okay, you're right, but dang it, you're right." So basically, that's what I did, and so I have this at a glance. Ooh, I forgot I was really zoomed in, which is sort of like the whole story, like pulled out, and it's all the way down to like my 64 chapters. Because I have like all this written, I just need to like finish inputting all of it into this format.
Right.
But I went through and I was able to loosely script out the first like 15, 16 chapters, like loosely. You can see where I went in detail in and then where I didn't. Just like loosely throwing it in. And then kind of went into here and threw all those in and all the way got chapter 1 going. So it looks like a lot of text, but it's, the individual pages. Basically, the Harmon cycle at the volume level, where each volume is one part of the Harmon cycle. So I'll have 8 volumes. And then another version of the Harmon cycle that splits the 2 volumes. And then another version of the Harmon cycle where you have a whole Harmon cycle in each volume. And then each chapter has its own Harmon cycle split by the pages. So, absolutely crazy. And it works perfectly because all I have to do is just use two chunks of the Harmon cycle, and there's when Mikey Shilton gets chunks. So, it just worked out really perfectly, I
think. I like the Harmon cycle, I think, a little bit more than I like, or a little bit better than the hero's journey. Mm-hmm, it's an easier, more comprehensive structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it kind of, I don't like saying that I needed the structure for my brain to organize it better, but for whatever reason, having it just works, makes my brain happy.
Well, that's what it is with me. I have to put some structure in, or I've got too many choices, and then I freak out. I can't complete this task because there's just too many choices.
Yeah, exactly. It's a too many choices thing.
You have a real problem with that one, so I like it whenever we don't have to worry about the choices. You know what I mean? I like that's cool.
Look at all these plants I get to do.
Yep. So I just shampooed the carpets in my bedroom. So I'm actually going to end up sleeping in here in my office tonight. And George has thought this is the coolest thing that has ever happened. He's all over this bed in the middle of my office. He's like, "This is so cool." I'm like, "Okay, but I'm going to sleep here at some point." It's like, "No, you're not. Because I'm here. I'm a big cat." You're not a big cat. You just think you're a big cat.
He's big in mind. He's right? Big in spirit.
In his brain, his wee little peanut brain, he thinks he's a big cat. So there's that. That happened.
Yeah, because big cats get their heads stuck in glasses.
Right? Which is something that he does routinely. So there's that.
One of these things is not like the other.
Right. Like, well, yeah, I'm just saying. I
don't think big cats get their heads stuck in glasses, my friend.
Right. Not a common thing for a cat. I can hear Miso in the background though, or could a minute ago. That's actually what made me think of it. Was Miso was talking.
Yeah, she was.
So I was like, I was thinking of George, and I was like, oh, there's George on my bed.
Yeah.
Like
Her nightly zoomies.
Yep. All right. I just added in my super futuristic sci-fi the words, it's like a real-life dubbed Godzilla movie. Not like I ever expected that would be things that I would write, but you know.
I purposely used assets so I wouldn't have to redraw them. And then after I look at them, I'm like, you know what? I'm not happy with this. I'm going to draw every single line again myself.
You're like, hey, I'm going to reuse all of it. No, never mind. That'd be too easy.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, but I didn't draw it, so like I need to go in and redraw absolutely everything.
Right.
Just so that it feels authentically me. And needlessly suffer. And unfortunately, I do not believe I will be getting an award from Medibank. I have yet to receive an email, and awards are going out in 3 days. So I probably didn't get anything, which is okay.
Bummer.
It's okay. I mean, this is how manga contests are, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, they're unusually ruthless by contest standards. So, but here's the other benefit though. Like, because this is like, I'm still trying to be optimistic.
Right.
But because it's becoming increasingly unlikely with every passing hour, if it doesn't happen, that means I can delve full force into the Dojin lifestyle. And
That's the way to look at it. Yeah.
Embrace it. Accept my fate. Because I've been holding off on like selling chapters and doing PDFs, and I've been holding off on so many things. Because if you're already commercial or already selling things, like it hurts your odds of getting like an award or published by them in their contests because they don't like already commercialized things.
Right.
For obvious reasons. So I've been holding off on things, and I'm like, this just isn't worth it anymore. I'm like actively hurting myself by holding out so long.
Yeah, I don't know. The way Kane and I have been kind of just looking at things, I'm getting the real feeling that it's better for us to be just doing this by ourselves.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, getting involved in a company, it's just brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, like, trying to get those companies to, I mean, it's rough.
Yeah, I even asked, like, you know, that assistant circle that I'm friends with. Like, I even asked them, I'm like, what would your guys' recommendations be? And like that assistant, leader himself, like Atsu-san, who like literally has been an assistant on Hunter x Hunter and Death Note, Naruto, Boruto. Like he's been like an assistant on those. Even he said go indie. He's like, it's not worth it. Just like he's like what I see with manga, it's like it's so hard on them. Like it's just not worth it. You're better off being indie, and you'll probably make more money. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, you'll probably make more money because you get to keep it. And I'm like, oh shit.
Legitimately, Miyazaki. Here's a quote from Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Which goes either for animator or comic artist, manga artist.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So even he was like, yeah, just go indie. And I'm like, okay. That settles it. Because I felt really bad. And they're like, no, like this is normal contest stuff. So, and they gave me some like really good feedback on God's Bane. So it's just nice. He's like, your art is really nice. He's like, I just feel like your story's a little weak. But, you know, he's like, I don't think this is something they would be interested in because it's not very shonen. Like, yeah, you're probably right. Slash Shonen anyway.
I mean, are you talking about me specifically?
No, God dang.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I read all kinds of stuff. Although
Yeah,
right
no,
now I am deep into the heart of shonen itself.
Oh, which one?
Because I actually got the novelization of Gundam.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
I'm so excited. I haven't read this book since I was, I don't know. I mean, I must have been 18 or 19, maybe tops, the last time I read this book. So I'm so psyched. And it's all three of them in one novel, which is really, really cool. Anyway, but it's a novel. It was the three light novels combined into one regular novel.
Oh, nice, that's nice.
So
I got some Junji Ito books because I want to start making like ghost stories for God's Bane, like talking about the lore and stuff. So let's see, what's who pings me? Oh, it's work stuff. I got a ping from a coworker.
oh yeah,
I can't look at it right now
it's all good.
because it's off work hours, and I'm trying to be better about like not like I literally just clocked out. I don't wanna just clocked out.
Yeah.
I need to get better about it, but it's something that can wait, I think. There's there's also a possibility I'm going to San Diego this year. Well, we don't know for sure yet, though. I'm like, can y'all decide? Because I need to go get clothes if I am.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually our plans completely changed around Thanksgiving, and I'll be able to table at Galacticon, which is cool.
Oh, nice.
So I like how things change, but I don't like the fact that I don't have anything planned for Thanksgiving. But on the same token, it's kind of like, well, that's kind of cool, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't plan to be at like San Diego at all. I planned to be like support for like community support, and yeah, so it's a maybe. It'll depend on if we can get the panel they want me on confirmed. And then I'll be there for like creator support, like going around and like visiting all the creators, taking photos, shout outs, all that fun stuff. And I've been like, guys, let me go. Like, let me go to a con. I promise I will make it worth your while. And like, I kind of laugh because I told them, I'm like, imagine you've got like a rabid animal on a leash and you like let them go to like go do their thing. That's me. Like, I'm ready to go. Just turn me loose. I'm ready to go be community support. Just let me go and I will prove how good I can do.
Right? I'll do the good job. Put me in, coach. Put me in.
Yeah. I literally get to go around and say hi to people at a con. Like, that's a fun job.
Right?
Please let me go.
There are other people who are like, oh, don't make me do that. And you're like, no, make me do that. Make me do that. I'm good.
Pick me.
That's funny.
Yeah, I feel like I'm entering my golden retriever era of life. I love this pen. It's like drawing with a really sharp pencil. I love it.
It's very lovely.
I actually drew in my sketchbook for the first time in a while over the weekend. I'm usually really, really good at making sure I go into my sketchbook every day. And for like a couple months, I completely neglected my sketchbook, which is extremely uncharacteristic of me. And I couldn't figure out why I'd been like so, I don't want to say depressed, but you know, like nothing flowing right, you know what I mean? There's no flow state anymore, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And my therapist was like, is there anything that you normally do that you haven't been doing? and I had to think about it for 2 or 3 weeks. And I was like flipping through my my Twitter posts, and I saw like a picture of my sketchbook, and I went, "When was the last time I used my sketchbook?" And when I opened my sketchbook, the last thing I drew, and it was when I was sick with COVID.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's been like 6 months since I used my sketchbook. And I'm like, well, damn, this might be why I've been depressed the last couple of months, is I've not been using my sketchbook. Because I was so prolific with my sketchbook for like the last, I don't know, like 10 years. I have like 27 full sketchbooks from like the last 10 years. So like I drew in them very regularly. And then all of a sudden I just stopped for like no apparent reason. And I can't, like, I don't know if it was COVID that stopped me or if like I'd stopped sooner than that. But yeah, just December was just a shitty month for me. But it felt like so good to do some sketchbook work again. And it was weird, like, you know, like I'm always talking about, like, draw traditionally so that, you know, you feel good and sketch with ink. And, like, I felt like I was having to learn to ride a bike again just to sketch in ink. And I was like, no, I lost it.
I was actually thinking about that because, like, my drafting table's on the other side of the room over here. And I'm like, I really should clean that table off and draw on it. I even put it at like a canter so that I couldn't stick stuff on it, and then managed to figure out how to stick stuff on it. So I'm like, well, that's not what was supposed to have happened.
Right. But yeah, it really, really helps. And like I was able to like finally just think more freely, I guess.
Yeah.
Miso, what am I feeding you? Oh my god. Damn, stink up the whole apartment. Now that there's much apartment to stink up. Damn, child. She's like, that's what you get for ignoring me all day.
Right.
Trying to kill me.
Generally. Word. Much good. Man.
You see, they're gonna start charging for tweet deck.
We'll see you in a second.
I'm so mad.
Sorry, I was just talking to Donald.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know. Yeah, they're gonna start charging for. They're moving TweetDeck over to Twitter Blue. I'm so mad.
Yeah, although the 600 thing is not part of that.
No, but I use Twitter Blue regularly as part of like my GC stuff. And so for me to use it, I would have to exclusively use the GC account when I'm using TweetDeck. But the reason why I don't typically do that is because a lot of times people will ping me directly when they have a question. So now I have to decide, do I want to get Twitter Blue so that I can like keep working that way, or do I want to just watch on my phone whenever I get a ping? Because now I may have to be during the day logged into only Global Comics so that I can use TweetDeck. Because whatever account you're logged into is the account that TweetDeck uses. So I have to log on to Global Comics, and if I do that, then I can't see my feed at all.
Man, there used to be a program called TweetDeck, and I loved that one.
That's what I'm talking
Oh.
about. TweetDeck. Yeah, TweetDeck is officially with Twitter now. Like, it's an official Twitter thing, and they're gonna put it behind the Twitter Blue paywall.
Oh. There used to be a thing called TweetDeck, which was really
Yep.
cool. You're like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, oh. Well, that makes sense. Now, I'm following.
Yep. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, TweetDeck was like a thing.
Yeah,
I really liked my
I'm pretty
TweetDeck.
upset about it. It's amazing. I love TweetDeck. Yep, going behind the Twitter Blue paywall.
Then that happened.
Which is stupid. And, like, some of my coworkers were like, we'll just get Twitter Blue then. And I'm like, no, like, that would be freaking, like, social sabotage at this point. But I have to consider how that will affect my reputation. Because we all know how reactive artists are. Let's be honest. Even if it's just a business decision, like, it could backfire on you.
Clothes and stuff. All right. I like this panel. I have to put any text in, just dock and chain exchange looks. All right, good job.
Lisa, why do you keep doing this? One of these days, you're gonna knock my hard drive out, and we're gonna have a hard conversation. I set up my desk in such a way that, huh?
Donald's telling a story about seeing a lady living in a trash can today.
Oof.
Here in Arvada, which I guess it can happen anywhere, but
yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, we were just talking about this just earlier today about moving out, and if you wanted to move out, could you? And We went looking for
Mhm.
apartments, and just on a whim, sometimes you just look at these things, you're like, I'm wondering, and it's like, wow, it's brutal.
Mhm.
It's just
Mhm.
impossible.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be moving next year, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I
I have
mean,
no idea.
it takes every last dollar you have just to have a place to live, so you don't have any food.
Mhm. I mean, I'm actually really lucky in that where I live, even after all my expenses are paid, even after all my student loans, if I look at just my needs, just the mandatory needs, no wants, if I have no wants, which means like no eating out, I still have like $300 in groceries every month, so I have plenty of food. Like after everything's paid, I still have like $600 left over every month. So I'm really, really lucky that I have that.
Yeah.
But like it's because we have no state income tax here. As soon as I move to a state that has income tax, I'm effed.
Right.
like, so like I'm only making it because I live in a state with no income tax. As soon as I move to a state with no income tax, I am going to be living like paycheck to paycheck, which is really, really sad.
Well, this is what we were talking about. Yeah, food banks saved you a lot. Yeah.
Food banks are hard for me because a lot of them aren't gluten free or don't have gluten free things. That's my only complaint about food banks. Is like the one time I tried food banks, like didn't have a lot of gluten free things, but that was a couple years ago. Maybe they're better now.
Yeah, I had seen a report
Whoops. Miso.
to the effect of food banks usually end up with all the problems, like they get lots of cereal but no milk. You know what I mean? Or stuff like that. So it's like there's nothing, you kind of have to, like, pieces, parts are not there.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least it can give you like the staples, and then you can just go get like the odds and ends, maybe.
Yeah, it can like supplement. But if you're really in trouble financially, it's really hard to make that work.
Yeah, and I'm by myself. I can't imagine like having kids to support, or like I don't have a car note at the moment, so I'm really lucky that I don't have a car note. But I'm going to need one really soon. Like my Jeep is at 226.
Right.
So and if I move where I think I'm gonna move, I don't know how much longer it'll last after that because that's a pretty substantial drive.
Yeah.
So like I don't know how much longer I'm gonna have the Jeep.
Yeah, I mean, we were just on a whim today. We were looking around, and it's so difficult.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to afford to move. I might have to stay next year.
Everybody always donates peas and cranberry sauce. Yeah.
But I like peas and cranberry sauce.
Yeah. If you're poor, you don't get to be very picky, though, do you?
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna go real quickly. I gotta put more ice in my water. My water has turned lukewarm, and I'm not interested in it. So I'm gonna go
Can't have that.
Yep, need lukewarm water.
Oh, nice, nice. I wish we had a Sprouts here. I think we're getting one really soon. Just down the just down the way a little bit. I think we're gonna get a Sprouts sometime later this year. That'll be really awesome. We have a lot of farmers markets here, which is really nice. And then there's a lot of like Asian markets here. So yeah, I'm in Tennessee. We don't have state tax either. And in fact, in July, I forget when. I think July there's either that or a period in July where there's like no sales tax. So a lot of people are going to be like bulking up for things. That's what happened last year anyway. We have like a special like tax-free period or something. It was really cool.
All right. I also got myself some Cheetos. Wyoming has no sales tax. That's true. The problem with no sales tax is that it means that they also don't have a lot of money in their budget. Not a lot of room. AC inside.
You need to stop zooming in past 50%. I'm going to draw details nobody will see.
I'm sorry, what?
I said I need to stop zooming in past 50% because no one will see that detail.
Oh, yeah. I've actually had that moment where I'm like, I need to look at this from the big outer view. That's why I do these thumbnails. Because then I can get a good outer view of what I want to see on this page and then zoom in little bits. There comes a point where I'm like, yeah, nobody's going to see this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Kat, you might as well, like, stop.
Right.
Well, I'm trying to, like, approach this from the same way if I had, like if I was using my pencil or Micron or something, like, I'm trying to approach it the same way. So it's like, Kat, like, just draw like you normally do. And I'm like, I forgot! I forgot how I draw traditionally.
My dad used to call these cheese extrusions.
Cheese extrusion?
Yeah. I guess at some point he actually saw the machine that made them, and they just spray out a little bit of dough. This little extruding machine.
That makes sense.
And he was like, well, calling them cheese extrusions now. He still ate them.
It didn't stop him from eating them, apparently.
No. Well, making it some way through here. The infamous scene where Gunny Better Spec discovers that sleeping on the job gets him nowhere fast.
I wasn't sleeping.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My wife had this persistent cough all week, and now I'm starting to pick up a persistent cough, and I'm like, I don't want the cough.
Not
Right?
again.
I was fine without the cough. You ready?
Take it back. well, I mean, don't take it back, but I don't want it. Can I return this to the store, please? Ooh, some loud boom booms out there.
Yeah.
Those ones actually sounded like guns.
Right. I keep wondering how long it's going to take before somebody actually pulls out a gun. You know?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't what I wanted to do. I mean, that's what I wanted to do, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. Look at the scope, sir. Do you see it? Okay, yeah, see that. That's probably works. Totally works. Maybe do you see what I see? Back in the house, safe from all the mortar fire outside. I swear.
Mm-hmm. I wish they would adopt like drone fireworks or drone light shows, because those are really cool.
Boulder's going to do that tomorrow night.
Oh, very cool.
I'm actually thinking of going and seeing it.
Mm-hmm. You should. I think it'd be super.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I'd rather go see that than fireworks now, because I'm not. It's the loud noise. And the older I get, the less tolerant I become of it. I just really can't deal with it, and so.
That's fair, I think.
Right? What is the deal with the mosquito plague of 2023? Oh my God.
You guys had bad mosquitoes there this year?
I'm sorry?
You guys having bad mosquitoes
Yeah,
there
they're
this year?
just brutal. It's super brutal out there. It's a war zone out there. Have to set up machine gun nests, take them out. But you know how it goes. Shoot 10 down and there's 50 more behind them.
That was really cool. One of my my coworkers is also really good at impressions, and it's crazy. Like sometimes he'll just like boom, just like pull one up, and I'm like, wait, who was that? And he's like, oh, it was me. I can't even tell that it's like not my coworker. It's like so accurate, and I'm like, you're in the wrong job.
Right?
It's like, you are so good at impressions. You are in the wrong job, sir. if they could invent a flying cat, they'd be toast. Yeah. Imagine how terrifying a flying cat is, though. Like it literally has needles for feet.
Right.
And how agile they are on the ground. Imagine them in the air.
As somebody who has one of the aforementioned, who likes to get onto my chest and then do the "I'm making biscuits" thing, and I'm like,
Oof.
really, because this hurts.
Yep.
I'm in pain. You're killing me, Cat.
That's how it was with my orange tabby Salem. He was that way.
Yeah.
Every time he jumped up, it's like, that is my back, that is my stomach, that is my legs. Stop it, please. I like my legs. They're a little chunky, but I like my legs. I don't want a vampire facial, please.
It's the Phoenix Sphinx of Egypt. We are 55 light years from the nearest jump thread. I probably ought to check my maps before I do that. And before I commit that. I'd be so mad if I screwed that up.
You would find out like way after the fact too.
Right? We are 55 light years from the nearest jump thread, Gunny. I love Gunny. He's a gunnery sergeant, and so they just call him Gunny. Holdover from Marines. Maps leave you trailing at some point. Yeah, it's true. One of the freighters is called the Pixie Lightfoot. And I have just decided that I have so much fun with this particular race. So one of the little tortilla chip guys that are in my story, they communicate by color codes on their shell.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no names. You can't, I mean, it'd be like calling them, shades of fuchsia with a slightly, a slight gradient to gray, or you know what I mean? It'd be like, yeah. So instead, they pick their own names to communicate with other people, and they just pick like totally random words and throw them together. That like before they learn like what it all means, and so you end up with these bizarre names that have been so much fun for me because I use the random name generator set for fairies. So I was writing this like, here's this prose thing that I'm doing for my patrons, and I'm writing the story, and the captain of the ship is this old grizzled warrior, and he's like this old grizzled captain, and his name, let's see, where did I put it, because his name was so funny. Yeah, his name is Flair Beauty Puff. This grizzled old war-hardened captain, Flair Beauty Puff.
I mean, the Flair does make it sound slightly badass, so.
Right, but the Beauty Puff just takes all of the badass away.
Yep.
Sparta Bonsai. That's it. That's what happened. I was getting sent a whole bunch of maps, but then they went into reverse, and now I'm getting spam. Son of a bugger. Yeah.
Just sitting here focusing, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's because it just made garbled mess. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I just totally didn't make any sense of that. That should be spelled out.
Just wasn't
Writing
expecting
101,
it.
folks.
Yeah, I just wasn't expecting it.
Destroyer Squadron 214 is en route and will be here in 4 weeks. Spell out 4, guy.
So I can get flour coming off the plane. Man, I would feel bad going to Hawaii now.
Okay, now I'm kind of curious. In what way?
Just the way that like the locals are being treated and their water and like the tourism is like completely ruined. Like the the natives' way of living, stealing all their water, that kind of stuff. I'd feel like I'd feel bad just even going and like contributing to the problems.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to at least get to see it someday.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just economy problems. It's also like they've been kicked off their own lands. They're having things built in sacred areas. Like they got a whole freaking mountaintop taken away just for I don't want to say a stupid telescope because it's not a stupid telescope, but like it feels like there could have been a better place to put it, and they chose Hawaii.
Well, I actually know a lot about Mauna Loa in the telescope side. They actually couldn't. The reason they chose that specific location was because it was one of the highest mountain peaks that didn't require you to go over a zillion other mountains to get to it.
Mm.
And so, and because of that, they could get the clearest. And also, the Big Island is doesn't have a lot of build outs. There's not a lot of light pollution.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really kind of the problem. That there was a lot of that going on when we were there because my wife's dad lives on the Big Island.
Mm.
And so while we were there, it was fascinating getting the real story because there's what you hear and then there's what the locals know.
Yeah, I wasn't sure like what the original story was.
I mean, and it's the locals are mad about Mauna Loa, but it's something deeper. It's not the actual telescope that's the problem. It was something, and I can't remember what it was, because it was a really complicated problem that ended up causing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like not easy to suss out.
Yeah, but it feels like it feels, even just the way you explained it, it still feels like, oh, well, it was extremely inconvenient to build it anywhere else. Like, should convenience, like, top, like cultural like culturally important places. Like, oh, fuck Stonehenge. Like, we need to have like this telescope here that is extremely convenient to put here and nowhere else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, like I said, the I seem to remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the information, but
it was. You know what it was? Now that I'm trying to remember it, it was they were
mm-hmm.
making an expansion to it that was on a sacred piece of land, and they messed up something. They screwed up some thing where they didn't do the right thing, and I can't remember what it was. Usually, astronomers, they're not like, you know,
they're not like the oil guys or anything.
They're not corporate people, and like, so if they usually make a mistake, it's generally a mistake like, oops, I didn't know that was a thing, can I fix it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not like,
as opposed to, oops, we had to do this thing, oops, you know.
Yeah.
I remember like that was the biggest problem, and then it was, you can't fix it, it's just ruined, and so we're going to be mad about it. And they were like, no, wait, whoa, we have to figure out how to fix this thing and somehow come up with a compromise, because it wasn't intentional.
Right.
And it was, nope, we're just going to pick it and then get mad. And I can't remember all the things. There was like a lot of stuff that it in the end, I remember there were mistakes made on both sides that ended up escalating it instead of de-escalating it.
Oh, I'm sure. I just feel like that science should never trump cultural stuff like that ever. I don't care why. I don't care how cool it is. Just me personally, I feel like that shouldn't even have been a thought. Personally.
Yeah, the problem, Donald, is altitude. Donald's like, we should just set a super tanker out there, and it's actually a great idea. The problem with looking at stars, the biggest problem with looking at stars is you need to get enough altitude that there isn't a lot of air. But you have to have enough air that the scientists don't die. But you want to have the least amount of air between you and space, because the air gets fluctuations in it, and with
it
heat,
affects your sight, basically.
Yeah, and so it becomes little teeny lenses, and so you'll look at a star, and then the star will move, and then the star focuses in, and then it'll move again, because it's just air currents are moving through there.
Yeah, it's super techy, complicated stuff that makes it hard to do the research in the first place.
Right. Well, that's why stars twinkle at night. When you're looking at stars, they twinkle, and you'll notice that they twinkle more where you are than they do up here where we are.
Oh,
and it's because there's less air, and so there's not a lot of altitude to do that. So anyway, the long and the short of it is, I remember it being much more complex than they just built this thing on native land and kicked the natives off. It was a lot more complex.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's
sorry. I
feel like that was like, there was all kinds of stupid mistakes on both sides that escalated instead of de-escalating, because the original Mauna Loa telescope was sanctioned by the locals. So they actually let them build on there, mostly because, it was, but I mean, like I said, astronomers tend to try to do the right thing. I mean, they don't want to rock the boat, because they're usually geeky and tend to be like non-confrontational.
Yeah, well, and they need to have a good relationship so that they can do that research.
And that's what I was saying. I think that there was like a spot which was this is our sacred spot, and not next to Mauna Loa. I can't remember exactly, but it was something like they had this sacred spot that they were doing their things at, and then like the city came up there and put a pavement down on it or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it was a stupid mistake. And then the city was like, well, we're not going to fix it. That's too expensive. And they're like, well, no, you've got to fix it. And then Mauna Loa got blamed for it. And the astronomers were trying to figure out how to get out there. And, I'm trying to remember because now I've got to look.
I'm not saying that the astronomers did it intentionally, but my point was, and again, I don't feel like science should ever trump some stuff like cultural sacred areas. And if it was a mistake, miscommunication, that stuff happens. But I feel like that shouldn't have even been there in the first place. They should have found a place that doesn't impede on the local people. And if the local people were okay with it, that's different. But I don't know. I'm a little extreme in that personal belief, but it just sucks seeing that stuff get ruined because oh well, we thought we could reach an agreement, we thought we could handle everything well, and then it went wrong, and then relationships get ruined and soured, and it's well, we shouldn't have even done it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been, for one, it's been up there since 1958.
Yeah, it's been there a really long time, so I can't do much about it now.
Yeah.
It's been there before I was even a thought. It just makes me sad because it's these are things that are culturally really, really important, and it's well, we've ruined it. You should have just left it alone.
I'm looking it up
makes me
now
feel sad.
on any kind of well, one of the big things, and it's part of the problem, is that it is one of our primary observation locations for CO2 and ozone, because it's been consistent since 1958, and it's been up there monitoring exactly what's been going on since 1958. And so moving it, you risk then changing the data. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm not saying to change anything. That's just unrealistic. I'm just saying it shouldn't have happened.
Well, in 58, nobody was thinking about the locals anyway, so there's that. I mean, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm not trying to argue.
No, I'm not actually arguing either. I was just.
Okay, I was gonna say, I hope you don't feel I'm trying to be argumentative because I'm not.
I'm just now that I think about it, it's well, I mean.
Yeah, it's all stuff that happened way before my time, so I really don't have any right to speak on it. But...
I was up there. No, I mean the protests. That was happening when we were there. Mm-hmm. We were there in 2019. So I mean, we came back to COVID from there. We came back from Hawaii and just cleared here before COVID started.
Yeah, I remember the protests.
Yeah. Protests are a thing, and I'm trying to figure out what the story is with it.
That was at the same time as the Standing Rock protests, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Opposition. Oh, there we go. In Honolulu, the governor and legislator, enthusiastic about the development, set aside an even larger area for the observatory after the initial project, causing opposition on the Big Island. I see what's going on. They're putting in another telescope. And it was originally okay.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It wasn't involved in anything. Native Hawaiians believed the entire site was sacred, and that developing the mountain, even for science, would spoil the area. So you're right on that one. They all think the whole area is. Environmentalists were concerned about rare native bird populations, and other citizens from Hilo were concerned about the site of the domes from the city. Using town hall meetings, Jeffries, this is a person, was able to overcome opposition by weighing the economic advantage and prestige the island would receive. There has been substantial opposition to the Mauna Kea observatories that continues to grow. Over the years, the opposition to the observatories may have become the most visible example of the conflict science has encountered over access and use of environmentally and culturally significant sites. So yeah. So this was to an expansion. That was what they were really having a problem with.
What's the purpose of the expansion? Just more in buildings or more areas to do more research? What's the purpose?
Right. Let's see here. I'm looking.
But I think that matters too.
opposition to the Mauna Kea observatories. Okay, so opposition to the Mauna Kea observatories has existed since the first telescope was built in the late 60s. Originally part of the research begun by Gerard Cooper of the University of Arizona, the site has expanded into the world's largest observatory for infrared and submillimeter telescopes. Opposition to the telescope from residents in the city of Hilo who were concerned about the visual appearance, and native Hawaiians voiced concerns over the site being sacred to the native Hawaiian religion, as the home of several deities. Environmental groups and activists have been expressing concern over endangered species habitat. So they were building the Outriggers telescope project, intended to build from 4 to 6 comparatively small telescopes for interferometry, was to surround the Keck telescopes. That was canceled in 2006 after a court found NASA's environmental impact statement was improperly limited to just the telescope area. So in other words, they didn't do an impact on the entire mountain. An ongoing proposal for one of the world's largest optical telescopes, the 30-meter telescope, was the focus of protests concerning the continued development of the mountain considered to be the most sacred peak on the island chain. In 2018, the Supreme Court of Hawaii approved the resumption of the construction of the TMT. That's part of it. That's why they were protesting when we were there. I think what we've really got is, in the 1960s, no one cared. You know, they were just weird native people, whatever. And so they just built it. And since then, there's been a little bit more sensitivity to the native cultures and a little bit more sensitivity to what's going on. And that's changed the dynamic, the power dynamic. Because there was nothing you could do in 1960 about, you know, trying to stop them from doing anything. And I think that's what's going on. Because I remember the way that Mariah's dad was talking about it was more like the natives were had kind of resigned themselves to the original telescope, so long as they didn't cross the barriers. And now that I was reading that, part of that was that Honolulu had changed the rules on them. So even the people who were there at the telescope didn't want to expand further than a spot. But Honolulu was like, ooh, we can get more money and prestige. So they extended it further. But then the Big Island's like, now, wait a minute, you're on Oahu. Why are you running us around, you know? The Big Island is very country. It's like really weird. I've been to both Oahu and the Big Island. And it's funny because the Big Island is so like laid back and country. Like they're all like really almost like, you know, backwater hicks, kind of funny. But they're not stupid. They're just interestingly country. Not what I expected to be in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed being on the Big Island because they were all friendly and they were nice, and because nobody goes to the Big Island. You know what I mean? Like everybody's on Oahu, you know. So nobody goes to the Big Island. The airport is wild. Like it's one of those airports where you actually still like it pulls up and they wheel out a truck with a staircase on it, and you come down onto the tarmac, you walk across the tarmac to go into a little door, and the door is just like it's a frame because like the entire airport's open. There's a roof, but there's no windows or anything. So so I mean they've got it. It's still cordoned off. It's still a secured area, but like I was sitting there waiting for our plane and watching birds fly through the middle of the airport, go in one side and out the other side, and I was like, well, that's a thing, you know.
That's really cool.
It's like it's just I mean the walls are like 3/4 height, so all the walls in the building are like 3/4 height, and then there's just posts that hold up the roof. And it's like
it's amazing,
weird. It's so bizarre. And of course, it's still a high-tech airport in that baggage is still handled in a baggage claim and stuff like that. It's just so weird to see it like it's, you know, they worked really hard to make it still feel, you know, like, whoa, you're out here in Hawaii. So it's kind of cool. Well,
It does sound really cool.
I'm up with the dawn patrol in the morning. Not really, but I'm up pretty early in the morning. So I'm going to bow out. I'm glad you joined me tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for hosting. Let's see what I don't even know what I got to do.
Yeah, it's
Just a little corner.
we had a weird week last week. Everything was really weird, and now Can's got a job, and so he can't show up anymore. So actually, I'm thinking we should all offline have a meeting where we all get together and talk and decide what's the best time. What would be a good time for everybody to be here, or I mean, not to be here I don't expect everybody to be here every day, but is it easier to do this from say 8 to 10? Would that be an easier time, mountain time, or whatever? So I'm going to sort of have an offline meeting. I'll invite you to that offline meeting so that we can all, well, it'll be an online meeting, but you get the idea, like not streaming it. So anyway, I'm going to get going and go to bed, which is right here. That's kind of weird. It's like so strange. I went into the bedroom and I was like, oh, look, some of the carpet's already dry. And then I walked into the middle of the bedroom, squish, squish, squish. Okay.
Squish. It's like, well, yeah.
But I opened all the windows and I turned the air conditioning unit in there on to, dehumidify. So it should strip the room of all of its water pretty quickly. So
that's good. I'm just gonna be drawing most of the day tomorrow because I get a rare full holiday off with no articles to post. So
that's kind of wild. My best friend's brother is throwing a barbecue up in Evergreen, so we'll be up there. Where
I'll be going to see
fireworks.
I'll be going to see Dad's fireworks show. He does MWR on the base here, so he's excited to show off the show he put together.
That's cool. You should take my night pill. I have pills all the time. I feel like I'm just always doing pills. Eternally taking pills. Anyway, all right. Donald, I hope you got a free barbecue tomorrow. Kick ass.
2 free barbecues. Ooh.
I like free barbecue. That's actually what I'm kind of heading up to see my buddy or see James's brother for. I'm like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So real quickly, we changed the mattress. I've been sleeping on a Sleep Number bed for the last say 8 years or so. And the Sleep Number bed, I've been having back problems that have been getting progressively worse and worse and worse. And I suddenly had this realization that every time I go to somebody else's house, my back problems disappear. And I was like, crap, it's the stupid bed. But it took us a long time because it was one of those things where it was $1,000 to buy the bed. And if you paid that off in 1 year, then there was no interest. But if you didn't pay it off, the interest would accrue and it would backpedal and everything like that. And in the end, we ended up paying $3,500 for it. And so
wow.
I hated that bed so much that I stayed in that stupid bed. And now I'm realizing all it did was just really trash my back.
Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to getting a shaky futon again.
Yeah,
because I had slept so good with that thing, and now that I have a regular bed, I sleep like shit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So my buddy had a bed that they were using, or they had used a while ago, and then their kid grew up and decided they didn't like it. So I took it, and it is memory foam, but it's just a normal memory foam mattress that's flat. And I laid in it, and like my back popped in 3 different places.
Ooh.
And I was like,
goodness.
I'm staying in this bed forever. So that's actually what happened is we dismantled the old bed and then found out that somebody had been under the bed puking.
Uh-oh.
Like, God. So we got the shampooer and we shampooed the carpet, and
Mhm.
before we put the new bed in, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
So
I'm hoping wherever I end up doesn't have a carpet floor, so I can have the futon. But if it does, it's super easy to get like a flat platform or something to put it on,
right,
or make one. It's super cheap to make one.
exactly. So all right, well, I'm out of here then, and I will see you guys all later. Thank you for joining me, Kat. Feel free to join me
Yeah,
again, obviously.
I will definitely join you tomorrow. So
Yeah, I'll probably be on tomorrow night too. I can't see any reason why I wouldn't be. I don't know if I'll be on
okay,
tomorrow morning. I'm gonna try to be on tomorrow morning, but
okay,
I'm
I'll keep an
not.
eye out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I. There are people moving, but nobody said anything about moving between 9 and 11. So I'm
Right,
thinking
right.
we're probably going to be okay.
All right,
So
well, I'll check it out either way. So
cool.
go get some rest.
Have a good church and barbecue tomorrow, Donald.
Bye, Donald. Have a good day tomorrow.
And as always, everybody, keep your eyes on your stars. Bye bye.
Ciao.